Hello and welcome to the Alternative Podcast. This is episode 20. Our recent episode was a book club we did on Sober on a Drunk Planet. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out on our page. Aaron, we're going to lead us with something today?
Yeah. So the WEF recently had their annual meeting in Davos. I think it just finished at the end of last week. So I've been watching Rebel News. If nobody's seen Rebel News, go and check them out. I think, last year they released a long form video. I think it was about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half long. It might have just been an hour long, to be fair. Where they just sort of ambush journalism, is that what it's called? Where they just walk up to people on the street and
Scrum journalism.
Yeah, scrum. Yeah, they did call it a scrum in one of the videos.
Yeah.
So I really think what Rebel News are doing in Davos is fucking amazing. Like, they're going there as independent journalists or as an alternative media source, not funded by mainstream media, not funded by any of these big corporations that go to the WEF, and they're asking real questions about what these people are actually doing there, what are they discussing, what are the motives. And I just think it's fucking class what they're doing. And a lot of these people speaking to won't even entertain them, which I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, what I noticed is they all seem like the ambush. Yeah, by the way, it's called Scrum. A Scrum is an informal interview with a group of reporters who normally gather around the person they interview. So, yeah, I guess that's where it gets its term from, the rugby scrum. But, yeah, one thing I've noticed, and it was like evident with the Greta Thunberg or Thunberg, or however you pronounce it, one where all these people are clearly scripted in their lives, their media lives, and this form of reporting, which Rebel News are doing, is real, and they can't hack real because they're off on the back foot. They don't have the script. I would have thought, attending the WEF and with the history of Rebel News, they might have prepared some scripts for the interviews, but they weren't at the least prepared at all.
No, they just literally, once they spot someone on the street walking, they'll go up to that person. I think there was that interview with, was it MNCB? No.
CNBC.
CNBC, that's it. Yeah, there was that interview where Avi walks up to him whilst I think one of the editors or someone high up in CNBC was having a cig outside, and the way he reacted to Avi just asking him, they weren't even really aggressive questions, he was just asking him questions, and he got so pissed off. But one thing I liked what Avi said is like, I'm here doing what you should be doing, but you're here as a paid guest at the WEF.
Yeah, but it's exactly right. He's doing real journalism. Real as in capturing what people really think about things. And they're all just crumbling left, right and centre. It's you get a few of them who, I don't know if they don't realise what's going on, and then when they realise, oh, these guys are they're not for the agenda that the WEF are pushing, you see them, they'll give decent responses, and then they'll be like, oh, this guy doesn't agree with what WEF are pushing on everyone, and then they go a bit reserved and then just fall off.
Yeah, like the Greta Thunberg one was so weird. They're asking her hard questions. She was just laughing or being sarcastic with her answers, and then even some questions the mainstream media were answering the question for her, which I just thought is just bizarre.
She was being a bit of a dick, really, the way she was acting. It wasn't like she was. To me, it felt like she loves the attention, and she's obviously a paid actor, as everyone's saying. She definitely is a paid actor, but she loves the attention because she's had it since she was a kid. It's all this attention.
Yeah, it's like she wasn't talking to the to Rebel News, and I think I forgot his name, but one of the guys from GB News was there as well, asking the difficult questions too. But it's like if you're asking questions that challenge her, she's too important, or she's a bit arrogant in the way she was answering the questions, or not answering the questions, or just being sarcastic about it, like making the journalists who are asking the questions look dumb.
Yeah. But then she like just burst out in like hysterically laughing. That was weird, I thought. The good question was, if you didn't go to school, where did you learn about climate change? And it just, oh, I don't know. The Greta one just summed it all up, though. What a mess the WEF is. Like the whole thing's just weird. And I think in Rebel News they described it as a Disneyland for the elites.
Yeah, because they build this fake town. Well, Davos is a real place, but they build it like when the WEF's on doing their conference. They build all these fake buildings and fake shops where like BlackRock had their own building there. Like that's not always there. They're just for this week. Like then they talk about sustainability. Like where's the sustainability in just building something for a week?
Yeah, because there was one of them, I think it was from this year's, where everyone, all the I think they're called VVIPs, they travelled around in petrol fueled or diesel fueled cars. And oh yeah, it was that the Rebel News interviewed another reporter. I think she was from Japan. I wouldn't say. I think it was Japan. And anyway, she had interviewed the Rebel News were just praising her on her level of journalism because she went and thought outside the box. She went and interviewed a VVIP's personal driver. She was on the interview, and obviously he's not bothered. They'll speak as long as you want to be. Don't mind being on camera. They'll speak. And he was just explaining that yeah, we can't use electric cars for these types of people. The electric cars are for other people, and we have to use these ones for these. And it's just like the VIPs are like the elite of the elites, I'm guessing, within that industry. And they can't use electric cars. It's just the whole thing's just backwards. And I think Davos this time around, a lot of people have woken up to the shit that it is.
Yeah, like just going to that Japanese journalist, she found Klaus Schwab there. Have you seen that video?
Yeah. She did.
And then he asked who do you work for?
Yeah, who you reporting
for? Journalist. Yeah. And they said, he goes. I think I'm just paraphrasing it. I can't remember the exact wording. Because I definitely won't want to speak to you then, and walks off.
Yeah, and turned his back on it, didn't he?
Yeah. But that sort of sums up that they don't want to speak. They only want to speak to journalists that have scripted questions and they know what those questions are going to be, so they know what the answers are. They don't want to speak to the independent journalists. They don't want to be open and honest about what they're doing. I watched the Rebel News last year when they went to Davos, and I thought, this is good what he's doing. But this time it felt a bit different. This time it felt they've pulled away the curtain and shown how shady these people are.
Yeah. If you're passionate about something and you're doing something that's good for humanity, you would want to scream and shout about it. And if people are against what you're doing and you honestly do feel like it's the right thing that you're doing, you'll have them hard conversations to prove your point and back your corner. Look at people like I've been watching some videos on Tommy Robinson, and he believes what he's doing. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I know he's a bit of a controversial one, but just for this example, he believes what he's doing is right, and you can tell that he's passionate. He believes in it, and he believes it's for the goodness of the world or the country. If you look at these people like Klaus Schwab and stuff, they're not passionate about it. They don't you can't feel any passion in even the speeches that are scripted. They don't even script it in a passionate way. It's all very monotone, very much, I just need to get this done.
Yeah, it's like they need to say these buzzwords, tick some boxes, and then move on with what they actually want to do. And that's just how it feels. And then when they're being asked these difficult questions about sustainability or the environment, for example, like why can't they just stand on the street and answer these questions? Why have they just got to walk away from it or not answer it? Or it's like if you're fighting for an agenda that the WEF claim to be pushing, like all the pros for what they're doing, then why are they not pushing it to independent? Why are they not speaking to your average Joe, like your average journalist? Why do we only speak to these multinational media companies that are helping fund or being funded by the WEF? It stinks, doesn't it?
But this time round, it's blatantly obvious. It's so blatantly, even if you're slightly suspicious of it, it's so blatantly obvious, like what's going on. It's I don't know. It's a bit. Avi didn't do as much as I thought he was going to do on Rebel News. Avi's a good host if you want to check him out. But
I think that Ezra is it Ezra, the older guy.
what is he called? Ezra? I don't know his name. The glasses with the glasses.
Yeah, I think he's one of the founders of Rebel News. He didn't go last time, but I think he saw that Avi was on something, and then like quite a few of them went out this time.
And I don't think Avi can get the interviews that he once could have got because of his face.
Yeah, he's a bit bait face now.
Yeah, because he tried to interview. Was it the New York Times when she was sat down outside a cafe?
Was this last year?
It was this year, wasn't it?
I remember he interviewed a journalist, well, tried to last year when she was outside a cafe.
The other person said you need to book in a time.
Yeah, I think that was last year.
Yeah, all right, might have been last year then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's not much from him, but he was there.
But if anybody's not seen it, it's definitely worth checking out.
Rebel News, and to be fair, you've got to take your hat off to Rebel News and Russell Brand.
Yeah.
And then YouTube channels such as Redacted as well. Like they've got a big platform and they're doing like justice.
Yeah, people who are just calling out the elite shady business.
Yeah.
Which I think they're a lot of these corporations are claiming that they want the best for humanity, but whether you're left wing or right wing, it doesn't matter now. Like at the end of the day, what matters is these corporations can't be trusted. You've never been able to trust corporations. So whether they're saying they're for climate change or for the health of humanity, you can't trust them because there's always an agenda behind it. And you can see that 100% in the way they handled dealing with independent journalists. Like you said, they weren't passionate about it. So I don't think, and I'll say it time and time again, I don't think the arguments between the left and right are helping at the moment. I think we all need to get together and go against.
Yeah. And even on that passionate thing, if you look at someone, love him or hate him or question him, Elon Musk, he goes on Joe Rogan. If Klaus Schwab really cared about what he was doing and he wanted to convince the normal people like myself, you, or 60 subscribers, and then the 6 million subscribers that are subscribed to Russell Brand, go on the Russell Brand and have an interview with him. Go on with Joe Rogan and have an interview with him. If you are genuinely trying to help humanity, just go on and speak to him. Or why are you not speaking to him? Why would people like Elon Musk go on? Why would Donald Trump? He said he would go on to the Joe Rogan podcast. I don't think Joe wanted him on, but I could imagine Donald Trump to go on the podcast.
I feel like these elites that go to WF are the ones who they're so scared of slipping up. So if they were on a podcast with Rogan for 3 hours and he slipped up, then it just fucks up like the whole plan. So I think they're so scared of like slipping up that they won't put themselves in those positions, which obviously shows that there's some other agenda behind the scenes. If you're scared to have a 3-hour conversation about something he's written books on. He's written, how many books has he written? Like 2 or 3 books about this new way of living, this new system that he's thought of.
It's so obvious. These guys, they only do interviews with the big media companies. Who are they funded by? BlackRock. What was BlackRock? It's the fucking financial department for the Great Reset. And they'll only keep it within that tight little circle of cult, even of companies. It's a cult of companies. It's a cult movement.
Yeah.
And it's fucking there. It's black and white. Like you can see it. Play it clear as day. And then you get like people that sort of, this is what we need to rely on a bit more of. People that are in that industry or that cult that come out of it, because that Tulsi Gabbard, I know she wasn't in the WEF. I don't know, she might have been, but she disconnected from
the Democrats Party of America. I think she was in it for a good while, wasn't she, in politics?
I think she wanted to go for president, didn't she?
I think so. But she's come out, and you should listen to her Rogan interview. It's fucking sick. Like,
emotional, that interview.
Yeah. She is basically calling out all the corruption, which is what's needed. People like that. And there are people in positions of power who probably have that side of humanity, that they should come forward and do exactly what she's done.
Well, another reason why I feel like what Tulsi's done is important is me and you can sit here and talk about it all day. Alex Jones can talk about it all day. Russell Brand can talk about it all day. And we'll just get labelled conspiracy theorists, as we always do. And people that have been in it and then come out, they can no longer be called. They're evidence. They're not theorists anymore. They have evidence. They've been in that circle and come out of it. So you can't label them as conspiracy theorists. They're truth. So that's why more the people within need to come out and talk about it. And that's why I think Tulsi Gabbard, she will trigger more people to come out and talk about it.
I hope so. It needs to sort of crumble from within. From the outside, it's just us shouting at her. It's like us shouting at a skyscraper.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then no one's leaving. But then once people start to leave, and then more people leave, and then there'll just be one person at the top. Well, I don't know who's at the top, but I don't think it's Klaus Schwab.
No. Person at the top. Yeah. Might be a higher being.
But anyway, going on from that, what I find strange at the moment, and I've seen it a couple of times, like members of the WEF coming out and saying there's going to be a recession this year. So BlackRock have said the central banks are purposely going to cause a recession. This is BlackRock saying it in 2023. But the weirdest one I've heard call for a recession, or call and say there's going to be a recession, and you might want to get this up, you guys to find a video on YouTube. It's Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos.
He says there's going to be a recession this year, and he tells people to not spend the money. And he says, if you was looking at buying that big screen TV, he goes, I'll just hold off for the time being and keep your money like tight. If you can find the video of him saying that. But I find that really weird because he owns probably the biggest e-commerce company in the world.
Don't spend.
Yeah, he's telling people not to spend money.
Wait for your Amazon token.
What I can tell you is The economy does not look great right now. Things are slowing down. You're seeing layoffs in many, many sectors of the economy. People are slowing down. The probabilities say if we're not in a recession right now, we're likely to be in one very soon. So my advice to people, whether they're small business owners or, is take some risk off the table. If you were going to make a purchase, maybe slow down that purchase a little bit. If you're an individual and you're thinking about buying a new, large screen TV, maybe slow that down, keep that cash, see what happens. If you're a small business, maybe delay some capital purchases. Do you really need that new piece of equipment? Maybe it can wait a little bit. Have some cash on hand. Just a little bit of risk reduction could make the difference for that small business if we do get into even more serious economic problems. So you got to play the probabilities a little bit. Be reasonable about it, take as much risk off the table as you can for yourself. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst.
Wife? Is that his wife? Or new girlfriend or whatever?
New girlfriend, I think. But it's weird that he's telling people not to spend the money.
What the heck?
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
I can't even work out why he would give that advice.
Don't spend any money. I don't know. It's weird because he owns Amazon. Say not spend any money. He got shitloads of data on us, and Chat GPT-4's coming. Apparently these have hold of it at the moment, and they've not released it to us. So I don't know what they're doing with.
I think there's something big happening, and I think the elites want a recession right now. Jeff Bezos giving advice people not to spend money. We're going to head into a recession. Recession will be caused from people being scared of going into a recession.
The thing is, well, Jeff Bezos doesn't care about people. If you look at the way he treats his employees. Prepare for the worst. The guy that's hoarded the majority of the money on the planet. Well, they literally fucking print money and put it in his pockets, don't they? And he's saying, be careful. It's funny, right? Because he's quite high up in this shit tip of elitism. Bill Gates is, and they're both recently split up with their wives. So, don't know what they've signed. It's questionable, isn't it? I think it was questionable as soon as Bill Gates' wife left him during COVID.
Epstein stuff was coming out as well. No.
Yeah, all of that come out, and then he was making all of the drastic. It was around the time he was making the moves for COVID, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was pulling some of the strings, and then they just suddenly split up. Bezos has been on this island as well, hasn't he?
Has he? Is he on the list? Probably.
Seth Rogen's on the list.
What?
Seth Rogen's on the list.
Is he?
Should we find the list? YouTube's going to hate us even more.
Well, Seth Rogen did that. I think I've mentioned on the pod before, that really weird Christmas movie.
Yeah.
When I saw that, I was like, what the fuck's happened to Seth Rogen, man? From Superbad to this. Yeah.
This dirty bastard.
Knew about that one.
Bill Clinton. He's a dirty bastard. He's a dirty bastard. Chris Tucker.
Oh, yeah? What the fuck?
I swear he's left Hollywood now as well. Spent a week in 2002. Took trips with Epstein. It doesn't say they were on his album.
On his island?
Yeah.
Elon.
Advised Elon. This isn't necessarily saying that they went to the island though. But this
No,
is
I think
saying
there's
that,
like contacts with him.
yeah. MIT. Oh,
Here he is.
he is just the worst guy that you can possibly even look at.
Apparently, he has some algorithm that scans the internet and sees who's talking negatively about him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised actually. Well, Microsoft basically just bought Chat GPT, OpenAI's Chat GPT bot.
Yeah, well, they've introduced it to their cloud service as well.
Yeah.
ChatGPT, on that subject, I think they're going to start charging like 40 quid a month, 50 quid
40
a
quid
month.
a month.
Yeah, something like that.
Jeez. It's probably worth it.
There's a free version and a paid version. The free version won't work if you're using it at times when there's high demand.
Oh, right, okay. Stephen Hawking went to it.
Did he?
Alex, well, what does it say he went to it? Or was he an acquaintance? Harvey Weinstein went to it. Yeah, Stephen Hawking in 2006 attended a barbecue at Epstein's at a little Great St. James's Island.
There's a website, Epstein's Black Book.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. 1,971 names.
Oh, right, I'll share my screen now. Well, here's a picture of Stephen Hawking there.
Oh, yeah.
Probably won't really recognise a lot of these, though.
No, I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah, so these other sites would have just picked names, the most famous names out of it, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Ah, shit. Right. Have you got another topic?
Now, should we go on to the tech stuff?
Yes, we can. Right. Let me get it up. I'm not going to share it. I'm just going to speak through it. So, the next segment of the show is technologies that are out now, available sort of now, and going to shape the future. So the first one is called. You've probably heard of this in the past. Like I think it's been spoken about quite a bit, but it's called cryonics. Cryonics.
Cryonics.
Yeah, but what it is basically like companies that are out there now that freeze you,
Oh,
and as soon as you're dead, they freeze you, and then they've just got all these people waiting to when technology catches up to revive them.
yeah. Well, that's funny you mentioned that because I just watched a film the other day called shit. What was the name? Demolition Man. I think we watched it when we were kids. It's got Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes in.
Right. Okay. I recognise the name, but I don't know it.
What happens is, so Wesley Snipes is a criminal, and Sylvester Stallone's a police officer,
Yeah.
but he's quite like a destructive, them destructive cops that do anything to catch the criminal.
All right, like a Luther.
Yeah, I've not seen Luther, but yeah. So basically, in the beginning, Wesley Snipes holds these people hostage, and then but there's like explosives everywhere, and Sylvester Stallone catches him, but blows up the building and kills all the hostages. So they both get sentenced, but their sentence is 70 years in one of them cryo chamber.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah, for 70 years. But in the future, I think it's 2035, the LA is being run by some he's a bit like a Klaus Schwab kind of figure, like has everything in order and everything like is done his way, sort of thing. But he wants to add a bit of disrupt. He wants so that there's like an undercast of people that live underneath LA, underground. So he defrosts Wesley Snipes to go and kill the leader of that group. But they defrost, and then the police. But the police don't know about it. It's only him that knows about it. So the police defrost Sylvester Stallone to like fighting in the future.
Oh my god! What the hell?
It's like it's just like a 90s action film.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's funny is when you watch a film, like if you swear and stuff, like there's things listening to you and you get charged like a fine and you call it a credit.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Shit, I might give that a watch then. Demolition Man.
Yeah, do you put on the that for the pod people, for our audience. Wesley Snipes Demolition Man police scene. And it'll like kind of give you a picture of what the future's like. What they portray it as.
Gun. Noun. Portable firearm. This device was widely utilized in the urban wars of the late 20th century. Referred to as a pistol.
Look, I don't need a history lesson. Come on, Hal. Where the goddamn guns?
You are fined 1 credit for a violation of the verbal morality statute.
What? Fuck you.
Your repeated violation of the verbal morality statute has caused me to notify the San Angeles Police Department. Please remain where you are for your reprimand.
Yeah, right. Fuckers are fast, too.
You are fined 1 credit for violation of the verbal morality statute.
Protect serve in place. 4 minutes, 15 seconds lapsed.
Maniac is imminent. Request advice.
With a firm tone of voice, demand Maniac lie down with hands behind back.
Simon Phoenix, lie down with your hands behind your back.
What's this? 6 of you. Such nice, tidy uniforms. Oh, I'm so scared. What, you guys don't have sarcasm anymore?
Maniac has responded with a scornful remark.
Approach and repeat ultimatum in an even firmer tone of voice. Add the words, or else.
Simon Phoenix, lie down on the ground, or else.
Anti-graffiti activation program activated. Aborted. Human presence detected. Safety override code accepted.
Lucky number 7. Oh! Okay. Olay!
We're police officers. We're not trained to handle this kind of violence.
It's the movie's alright. It's just like 90s action film, but
The message of it is weird.
yeah, like just the way they portray the future, you could actually see some of the things that they've put in there happening today.
Yeah, like really soon as well. I mean, that's what 1984 was written in like 1930s, was it? So to have signs of it then, and obviously I wasn't alive then, but to see the world today and just compare it back to what people explained it to be like back in 1930s, it's weird how they would have predicted it back then. But this is what they would have seen coming, like where we're at now, and what we can see coming is this coming soon.
Yeah, it's like the police officers asking that device how they should handle that thing. And then, like we talk about like weakening humanity getting softer. It's like the comment where he goes, "We're police officers. We're not supposed to deal with this kind of violence." But then when they defrost Sylvester Stallone, they think he's like really like primitive, and because he's like very brutal in the way he is. You think everyone there's like shocked by him because they think he's just really primitive and he's like violent, and he came from a really violent and horrible era.
Oh, right. Shit. That is literally society today. Yeah, a comment here. Comment here says in the movie he's supposed to be a villain, but as society becomes more like this, he's now the hero. Shit. Yeah, because he was a class as a villain in that film, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, he was a villain. Sick villain as well. Wesley Snipes is OG, man.
Yeah, Blade.
Yeah.
He's in prison. Yeah, so that was one of them, to freeze people, and people on the list with, I think it's with this company. It's
Yeah, Walt Disney on it.
what was his actual name? What?
Is that just a rumor? His name was Walt Disney on it. I think.
Oh yeah, I think it was just a rumor because he doesn't seem to be on this list. There's a list isn't that big, but the people that are alive today that are signed up to it is Seth MacFarlane, the Family Guy, Larry King, Simon Cowell, Paris Hilton, and Britney Spears.
So when will they be frozen?
It's unclear when and whether these people will be, or it says unfrozen. The technology to freeze people is not perfect yet, and there can be irreversible damages that will never be fixed. But it's improving every year. On the other hand, technology to unfreeze people. Oh, I think there's been a typo. It's unclear to see when they'll be frozen, and the technology to unfreeze them obviously isn't here. But you can just freeze people for whenever.
It's like if they've got cancer or a terminal illness, they'll freeze them until there's a time where there's a cure, unfreeze them, and then cure them.
Yeah, and then just bring them back to life, like with the technology.
Yeah.
It could be anything, like if they have heart failure, like a robotic heart in the future.
Yeah, anything. It's weird, actually.
It's like very doable, I'm guessing, in the future.
Yeah. If they can protect the technology, yeah, you can see it definitely happening.
It says that for each one of these, it has a "Should we be scared?" This article's by Luca Rossi, by the way, from Medium. So I'll leave a link to this article in the description. So shout out to Luca Rossi. But it says, "Should we be scared?" Not really. Did you know what else cheats death? CPR. That all literally stands for resuscitation. But it's not. It's more scary of like when they're gonna be brought back alive, just like what you've talked about with Demolition Man. Imagine you die and then you wake up and it's the year like 2200.
Yeah. It's scary for you because you don't know what kind of world you're going to be going into.
Yeah. Imagine waking up to that, like from death.
Even if you got frozen in the 90s, like they did, and got brought defrosted today.
Yeah, well, we was having this conversation, like people that have been in prison for a long time. How can they adjust to the real world? Like they went in, the 90s, 80s, 70s, and then come out this year.
Yeah, and the world's a different place now, completely different.
Yeah, they don't know what, like, you can't even fucking say anything. Our speech is actually.
I guess if you're in prison, like, for that long, you probably won't remember what the world was like before you went in anyway. You just, all you'd really remember is prison. But if you're frozen, all you remember is the day you was frozen.
It'd be like, I don't know, I'm assuming it will just be a flash, like, because when you died and you come back alive, you'll just literally, to say I just die here now, but my body's frozen, I might wake up. So you might just literally, you could be driving, get hit by a car, die, and then you wake up and 5 minutes later.
They'd have to you have to go through some rehab, I think, before they let you out into the real world. Probably.
Yeah, they'll have to like keep you in quarantine.
Yeah.
Not that kind of quarantine. Don't.
As well, though, you mentioned that kind of quarantine. What if there's viruses that are out there that the rest of humanity's immune to, and you're not? Like you just die within a few months. It's what happened when the West colonized America.
They basically.
What disease was it? Smallpox.
Smallpox, is that what it was?
Yeah. And that's what wiped out most of America, like the Native Americans.
Well, I guess when the technology's there and you're bringing them back to life, you'll be able to do a full rundown on their body to make sure
Yeah, I
they're
guess so.
clear. They're clear for they're clear to be able to leave and go. So they'll have to go for rehab. They'll probably have to go through tests, and then I don't know. Most of you will probably be robotic at that point.
Yeah. To be fair, I've watched 2 bloody films about cryo chambers. I watched that Idiocracy as well.
I've not seen that either. Idiocracy.
Yeah.
This is a comedy.
Yeah. It's all right.
He gets frozen as well.
Yeah, he gets frozen and then defrosted. And what happens? Oh, he gets frozen and then forgotten about. So he's only going to be frozen for a year. But then the military base that was running the tests gets shut down. And then they forget that they froze him. And then he gets sent to some landfill site in the future. This is like massive piles of landfill. And then one day, piles of landfill has an avalanche. And then he comes out of the chamber and he's in the future. But that's more like, say it's taking a piss out of how people are getting stupider and stupider.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, Idiocracy.
Yeah. So what's his name? That Terry Crews is the president.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Is it worth a watch?
It's all right. If you've got a spare hour and a half.
Looks kind of. It looks interesting, to be fair.
But I heard Joe Rogan talk about it quite a bit, so I thought I'll just give it a watch.
Have you watched that? Don't Look Up.
Yeah. Came out last year, I think, didn't it? On Netflix.
Yeah, that's well. Like the message behind that is like serious.
Yeah.
Even
Well-
oh god.
They're saying the message behind that's about climate change, isn't it?
Yeah. You what? Oh no, you haven't watched Avatar yet, have you? Because I rewatched Avatar 1, and the message in that is well serious.
Mm.
But then people don't pick up on it, do they?
Before we start the next one, just want to, as we're talking about films and futuristic, like sci-fi future, like based in the future, have you noticed that there's a running theme in films where they're set in the future and they're always like, it's always like a dictatorship, or there's things where technology is being used for control.
Yeah. It's a technology side of it, which is technology run by an evil man.
Yeah, whenever they portray like a future, it's always portrayed in that way.
Yeah. Run by the scariest one's fucking Matrix.
Yeah,
That's like way beyond future type. Well, that's not even future, is it? That's
yeah,
present.
it's future.
Is it?
Well,
We're living now.
there's future when robots take over the world.
Yeah, but is that not like what we live in now? But when we die, we're just in a simulation. So it's like present, isn't it? It's saying that we're in that now.
Well, the Matrix is the present, but when you escape the Matrix, you go into like real Earth, and that's all been overrun by artificial intelligence and robots. Yeah.
Yeah. So on that is the next one, which is the rise of artificial intelligence. And I'm going to show you some exhibits. So, right, let's just start with artificial, you know, Chat GPT, but AI are now doing like photos. Look at this one.
Is that a house party?
You seen it?
Yeah, I watched it on Blue later.
It's fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
This one here, isn't it?
Proper creepy, their eyes, man.
This is AI has built
Yeah.
these. But this is like crazy now.
It's like, look how many fingers she's got.
Yeah, that's what they were identifying on it,
The
weren't it?
knuckles are weird.
Like, oh shit. You can probably, I don't know, like this one though, for example.
But then her face is a bit too shiny in the back.
Yeah, her shoulders, everything.
Yeah.
But even then, man, like, girls be putting makeup on, like, and sweating. I don't know if it goes like this.
Polishing the face with Mr. Sheen.
This one, like, take away the hands
Yeah.
and the weird phone that they're taking or whatever they're taking the photo on.
Weird jawline as well. It's like proper like.
This one's the fingers as well. And
Yeah.
someone was counting the teeth here.
Oh yeah.
Way too many teeth.
It's pretty creepy though, isn't it?
On this one, the hands I can tell straight away, but like the teeth, the bare teeth, there's loads of teeth in that. Oh, this one, she just looks like a standard normal person.
Yeah.
Those are she, to be fair. This one, the teeth look weird.
These are creeping me out, man.
But this is like where these ones are funny. This is where like the tech is now.
Yeah, it's so close, isn't it?
You could literally like create an alibi for someone
Yeah.
through AI. Yeah, and then look at this one, right? Someone told. Oh, let me stop sharing for a sec. Someone told AI to. Let me see. I'll see what the actual thing that they told him to do was. They just said recreate Family Guy. Have you seen this one?
No.
Recreate Family Guy as a live action sitcom. So they just told AI to do that, right, with whatever's out there at the moment.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. We're gonna fill our house with happiness, but we'll smother the blues with tenderness. There's room for you, room for me, for gentle hearts and opportunity. It's the bigger love of the family.
Issues with it still, but it looks just like it.
Yeah. And were we talking about it on the last podcast, or were we talking like off the podcast about it? That yeah, we were talking off the podcast. That it's going to get to a point where no one creates anything anymore. The machines do it all.
Yeah, you'll probably have like a Netflix will come out with something where you can just create your own movie, and you say tell Netflix, or create me a film with Keanu Reeves Brad Pitt, Wesley Snipes, like all your favorite actors, you can have them in one film.
Yeah. But you can just bespoke the whole thing. You can be, but right, this is what I was looking into with this stuff, right, and how you're going to consume stuff now. And I think I was looking into it to start off with gaming, right? Is you can get them, well, in the future, I guess, or close future, you could just put like a hat on where it connects into you, or your Neuralink or whatever. And if you want to play a game, what it will do is it will feel how you feel and run the game how you want to run it. So you're in your virtual reality thing, but it's connected to your neurons or whatever in your head. We're not scientists, by the way. We don't know what they do. And it will go off all your previous data, like all your other runs and all the other games that you play, and where you're scared, where you're happy, where you get sad on the game, and it will just take into account all your emotions of all the data of all the games you've ever played. And then when you're playing a game, when it gets to a certain point where it's learned so much about you and people who play a similar way to you, it will know if you've had a long day at work and you put on your game. It'll just be one game that you play, but it will just take you through whatever's best for you at that point in time.
Yeah. It knows what you want before you even know what you want.
Yeah. It'll just be able to, and it'll be the same with content. It'll be the same with how you consume movies, but movies will probably be non-existent at that point because you'll be the main character in the movie. And it'll be your own thing of just whatever the fuck you want to do.
That's when you're living in the Matrix.
Yeah. That's where it's headed though, right?
Yeah. And that's where AI can manipulate you. Clever enough to do that.
But that brings me to that game that the old Rockstar devs are making called Everywhere. It's like this. Just share the thing. Have you seen much on this game, Everywhere?
No.
Everything
in one place.
Time for a new world.
You're not going to need another game.
That's the one. It's going to be interconnected to metaverse or whatever you want to call it now, and it's just going to be it. It's one game that you play, and it'll just connect. It'll just have updates on it all the time.
Yeah,
and it'll be free. I bet you it's free. You just access it, and then you've got to buy clothes, and it's going to be like a MMO, massive multiplayer online game.
Yeah, where you just buy skins.
Yeah, be Ready Player One.
Yeah, and you can be anything you want to be in there. Well, that's a metaverse, isn't it? That's where it's going to head.
This matrix where you're just logged in, and it will just in the future get to a point where it just gives you whatever you want.
Everything is pointing in that direction. Technology points in that direction.
GPT-4 is... You're just taking everything away from humans and sticking it to a robot that can do this shit. You're just getting a brain and putting it into a computer. But 10x in... Well, not even 10x in. A trillion x in the brain.
Yeah.
To a point where it's just inconceivable and humans are just obsolete.
Bloody hell, man. It's like that AI picture where it's like, can you predict can you show us the timeline of humanity?
Yeah. and people are just getting integrated with.
Yeah, you're turning into cables.
But then we're looking at it like we'll connect with technology, and it's like everyone says, yeah, we'll embrace it, we'll work with technology. No, technology, we're just going to be fucking sucked into technology. We're not going to like have cyborg arms where we've got super strength.
Yeah, it might go through a period where we're half human, half cyborgs, and then the next development from there is, what's the point in having a human body that's going to die and deteriorate?
Yeah, just take your brain out.
Yeah.
Look, your soul. Just bring your brain and put it into this computer.
Yeah, and it's just like take your consciousness and stick into a computer, and you do just become a cable.
Yeah, but that's all we're doing anyway. Is we're just starting by putting a computer into our head, and then just keep evolving with it, and then they'll get to a point where the computer just takes over. Like we're just a computer. I don't know why.
Do you reckon we'll be cyborgs in our lifetime?
Yeah. Think about it, right? What are we in now? 2023. When did you? What year? I think it was 2007 when I got my first phone. So
yeah, that was 2005.
From where phones were then to where they are now, they've got like thinner, and these are just like insane.
Well, then I wasn't. In 2005, probably even like 2010, I wasn't. I could have survived without my phone. But now, like, I could have gone like a week or whatever, 2 weeks. Even though I could have lived without a phone and not missed it. But now, you can't really. If you didn't have your phone for a week, you'd miss it.
A day. You'd feel so disconnected from the world. It'll be ridiculous. I can't even, if I didn't have access to technology or the internet, which is technically technology, I would not be able to do anything. Like in this, where I live, where I'm geographically located, I won't be able to work. I can't go to a shop and be like, "Oh, are you hiring?" You'll be like, "No, go online."
Yeah. So I'll say probably over the past 10 years, we've got so integrated with technology at an alarming rate when you think about it.
And then you think about things like that. It's just little things like we used to have. 5 years ago, we had wired headphones. Now it's like, fuck the wire, Bluetooth connection, wireless headphones, wireless keyboards, wireless mouse. It's just progressively, in the name of convenience, we are being sold better stuff. It's more convenient. It's like I bought a new headset which is wireless, and I've wanted it because I just thought, well, why would I have one with a wire when there's one without a wire?
Yeah.
Next, it'll be like, why would I hold my phone when I could just inject that fucker into my neck?
Have it in my head.
Yeah. And then you have it in your fucking head, and then you're talking. It's connected to this chat GPT-4 that's coming out, and then you don't even need to talk to it. You just think things, and it fucking recognizes what you're thinking. And then, I don't know.
I reckon within 10 years' time, that's the big thing. Neuralink.
On that, do you want to hear about another piece of technology?
Yeah.
Have you heard of nanites or nanorobotics?
Go on.
So it says nanites or nanorobots that will one day surround us everywhere. There'll be, I think another word for them, smart dust. They'll be literally the size of dust, which you can't see. But they'll be everywhere. They'll be in the air, the water, the surfaces, in our body, on our food. We'll pass through them constantly. Like we'll be eating them and then urinating them out. And they'll be able to adapt to certain situations. So you could get, if I don't know how it's going to work properly, but let's say all these things are everywhere, and you've probably seen it in movies where they just like create something really quick, like a hammer, and then
Iron Man.
like you're running away, and then you just create your hammer.
He just gets his suit, and then
yeah. So it's like that.
Yeah.
Because you can get him to be a hammer, or you can get him to create a 3D printer and print them out for you. But what do you think about? Have you heard of these things?
I've heard of nanotechnology. I don't know too much about it. But I guess it's like loads of mini controllable, like dust-sized things that you can shape into whatever you want it to be. Right?
Yeah, basically, yeah. I don't know how it would work. Maybe you'd rent a subscription to have access to them, and they're fucking everywhere. And whenever you need them, you just use them. But it's just weird, man. And it says here they can be used for things like cleaning the environment, 3D print anything on the go, cure any illnesses, go off to explore planets, control the weather, and everything that you've probably seen on sci-fi. They'll be able to do.
It's basically like a superpower.
Yeah, it says here, like, should you be scared? And it says whoever controls the nanobots will control everything, and it'll be like controlling the movements of people. So imagine like you've just seen that thing on Demolition Man, where the police come up because he swears. Imagine having all these nanobots around you which can like group up and fuck you up if you like say a swear word, and they just like start attacking you. Or they like, I don't know.
How close is that into like development? I feel like anything is like pretty feasible these days.
2030.
Jesus.
In 10 years' time, this is from 2020. In 10 years' time, nanobots in your blood might keep you from getting sick or even transmit your thoughts to a wireless cloud. This is why when you're saying like, I'm not going to say it actually on YouTube, but you know what I mean. I can't be asked. Yeah. They can transmit your thoughts to a wireless cloud. They'll travel inside of you on a molecular level, protecting your biological system, ensuring you have a good and long life.
They always put like a positive spin on it, but then they'll say, but then they'll be able to read your thoughts. What the fuck?
But they'll put something proper like fucking like a good and long life. Something like a fairy tale happy ending. And then the paragraph below will be like, but you can turn into a machine at the click of a button.
Yeah. They can stop your heart at a push of a button or something. That's what would happen though. They'll be able to do that if they're inside your bloodstream.
Yeah, they'll just control your everything.
Yeah. If they want to kill you, they press a button and you just die, heart attack.
But it's like when we was on the combo with Jay, right? Is well, it's scary stuff, but you get a company that's got the control. Because if you look at Apple, right, and if you look at it from the elites of one big organization, Apple's their marketing company. So if they release a nanotechnology and say you don't need to have a smart Fitbit anymore, exercise watch, you can do all your exercise through these nanotechnology, people will just be like, yeah, get me that.
Yeah.
Apple's like the perfect marketing company for these guys.
And it just connects to your phone by Bluetooth.
Yeah. Get them in your body.
It's when it becomes like intrusive like that. That's where it gets questionable for me. Like, at the minute, technology is like, if I wanted to, I could take my watch off, I could throw my phone away, turn my laptop off, and just leave it, and I could go for a walk in the woods without any technology there, and just be away from it. But when it's in your body, you're around it. There's no escape.
You are now, technology is you.
Yeah.
That's the inevitable end that we're looking at.
I guess the line is where how intrusive is quite intrusive now, and it's not even in our bodies yet.
Yeah. But it's like there's fucking shitloads of different technologies that are all advancing at once. And they're all equally scary. Like if you look at virtual reality and the way that's progressing, that's scary. And then you look at what Elon's doing with Neuralink, which is obviously in your body. You look at nano robots, or they're going to probably call it nano medicine. You know, take some nano medicine and fucking get rid of your get rid of your CVIDs. And it's just like a fucking group of things that are just
it's like it's all coming together at once, and it's all pointing in one direction, that it's going to be the next level up in tech is for it to be intrusive in your body, to actually become one with technology.
The biggest question is, why are they doing this? What the fuck do they want? What's the point, in it? Just fuck up. Do you know what I mean?
This makes you think, like, where is the what is the end goal? Like, you can taking away like all the agendas and everything. If all that stuff wasn't around, still, what is the end goal? Like, what's the point in keeping developing more and more tech that's only going to make humans more and more obsolete?
Yeah, we're pretty much at a point now where we know this chat GPT thing's just shown that they've basically just released something and said, here's a little sliver of something fucking massive that we've just built.
Is it to make us an intergalactic species?
I don't know. But right, you look at it from like ancient times, and we have all these theories that they spoke to a higher being. They had these epiphanies, awakenings, blah blah blah. It doesn't connect to what we're doing today as a human race. It doesn't connect to the moves that we're making. Or does it? Is this what we've been taught to do? Or like, is it just human nature just to not know what the fuck to do apart from something?
I think like ancient civilizations, like the Graham Hancock's version, they must have taken a different path of development to us.
Their technology was something completely different to what we see as technology.
They developed in a different way than what we're developing at.
Yeah.
But surely, if they were still humans and had human nature, their goal would be to keep on growing and growing and growing until they become intergalactic species, which I think is what this is all going to lead to, innit?
So
space travel.
Because I've been looking into a lot of Hinduism at the moment. If you've been a long time fan of the show, then you're probably aware of the journeys that we've been on. And these gods, like Shiva and maybe not Krishna, well, yeah, all the gods' names, right? They, way back when, what their names were. This is just a theory, and I don't know if this is true. But their names were what we call like the atoms today. So things that are already on Earth, like not man-made stuff, but have electric, whatever. Like Shiva was a name for a part of an atom. You know, you get the neurons, electrons. The language that we use today for an atom, they were what they called the gods back in the day. And these were so important to ancient life. They didn't need to create all of this scientific equipment. They managed to manipulate the atoms in a far easier way than we have today. They used the energy which was already available in a far greater way. And then that might explain how they managed to build a pyramid with some sort of like force. But it's just been taken out of context so many times that now we're at a point where it's that, well, yeah, you learn a bit about atoms in science and GCSE in school, and then you just fuck it off and you don't care about it again. And then when they're reading these ancient scriptures and stuff, they're only relating them to what we can physically see today. But they would have been on about like other stuff back then that we can't even comprehend. Like it's not even in our mind at all.
I wonder what their goal was then.
They must have been way more further ahead than us. Yeah, like you said, we've taken. It's as if they, or you don't know for sure, went straight to what they needed to do. Someone must have discovered, some scientist back in their day must have discovered something early for them to go straight to the point. We've taken like a left turn somewhere, and then capitalism's just fucking killing everyone. And then the evolution of humans is just getting a bit weird because these people in high places are just they're not going to invest. Think about all this stuff that's in the world. Now, just take money out of the equation. All these people that could be working. I think this is what Jay was trying to talk about, but maybe not to this sort of depth. You have all these people in the world, probably far more than they had in the ancient civilizations. Imagine everyone was working on, right, why are we here? Why are we fucking on Earth? Like, what? Let's have a look at what we've got. Get every single mind on it. There's enough money in the world to fund that, if that's what you need. There's enough people to build stuff and food to make us actually figure out what them lot knew back then.
Yeah,
the big boys don't want that. Maybe
do you
that's
think
why
they had the answer as to why we're on the planet?
Maybe, and they might have used the energy on the planet. This is all completely conspiracy theory from my head.
I won't say it's conspiracy; it's just a theory, isn't it?
Yeah, theory.
Thinking it right now.
They might have used the energies that are around us already, the electrons, neutrons, protons, whatever. Similar to what we think CERN are doing, or what CERN are doing. But they must have done it in a better way and then used what's on Earth with what's in outer space, with the other elements that are out there. And they might have just pissed off to another dimension. They might have gone out of space. They might have just, I don't know. They might just be doing something completely else, something else. They might look back on us and think, fucking hell, what happened to you lot? Why have you fucked up this pod? They might look at Earth and think, oh, you lot are a waste of time telling you lot what to do. Or helping you lot. We're a lost cause, we're gone.
The future of humanity seems weird when you think about it. It's making me ask questions now, like, what the fuck are we doing?
But everyone's just pissing around though, isn't it, really?
It's like we're so fixated on growth that we always want to do one better. And then that's compounded into what we are today. But then in 10 years' time, what's that going to compound into? In 20 years' time, what's that going to be? In 50 years' time, in 100 years' time, I can't. The only thing I can see is that they want to go into space and explore that. That's the only thing I can see, and have civilizations in space.
Yeah, but even this is what I mean, like by watching Avatar. Once they do that, all they're going to do is find some shit in space to exploit, then on the next planet, and exploit the shit out of it until a point where they need to move to another one, and they're just going to leave this vile like trail of shite behind them.
Yeah,
Saying them, we are part of it. But something must have happened way back. This might be why Graham Hancock's getting a lot of hate, because he's going against the agenda in a way that means people need to stop and fucking think about what the hell's going on. We're all worried about designer clothes and fucking trying to graft hard to get a Ferrari and make your bank more, the bank that you work for, more money, when even money doesn't actually mean anything. That's a fucking illusion anyway.
Nothing means anything.
Apart from what's here, and that's what comes back to with like the atoms and the energies that are around us and that shit. This is like the shit I think me getting into spirituality has been a bit mental, because I'm fucking deep thinker and I'm looking into something that's deep anyway, and I'm not going into spirituality as in I'm not reading the fucking newspaper to see what's going to happen to a Leo next month.
That's astrology.
Yeah. But spirituality is connected with the energies of like the earth and of I guess. Well, you have to think about it like that, because we have these massive fucking rooms with all this heavy machinery, which is trying to crack the code of why telescopes and all this shit, of why we're here. Like, what's the reason? What the big question is why?
Yeah, like the thing is, like, we're pushing for space exploration, but we not even fully understand what the Earth's about.
Yeah. But the cycle of Earth, it means something.
Yeah. Whereas I think with humans, like, I think we're quite arrogant in the fact that we know enough. Now we're ready for space.
Yeah, we don't know anything.
Yeah.
We're quite realistically, we don't know anything. It's like
and the thing is, like, they're arrogant in the sense that they're not willing to listen to people like Graham Hancock and listen to his evidence and try and figure out what he's coming from. Could he be onto something here? Like, Graham Hancock's just an economist that went into this, and he's found evidence and looked into shit, and he looks like he's stumbling onto something, but maybe he doesn't have the expertise to push it that bit further. Whereas if he had the support of the archaeological community behind him, then they could all go and push and find out what's going on.
But did you watch them guys that were on Joe Rogan?
Recently?
Yeah, like this.
Talking about Atlantis?
Yeah, them guys.
No, I've not watched it. But I saw
on that episode, they were talking about, well, Joe Rogan was basically saying, why do people not believe Graham Hancock? Why is this such a problem? Like, it's no longer conspiracy, it's now evidence that he's found.
Yeah.
What's going on? Do you know, with like I don't know, the way they see rivets in certain parts of the land and stuff. And he was saying, he didn't say obviously ego, but he was basically saying too many people would have been riding this wave of there's nothing there for too long. Like, there's no one now that can disconnect that, because the thought of saying they're wrong at this point, it hurts way too many people's ego. And that's what the problem is. That's what the problem is with the modern day, is definitely ego of humans. I don't think we should have advanced with egos. That's our problem. Greed sort of creates an ego. And these people, and what was kind of happening now is these elites who own the banks, who own all of these high corporations, they're greedy, but then they're trying to market us to be greedy and be like, well, I need a new designer suit, I need a new best car that's out, I need the fancy this, fancy that. So we're all just like living around greed and likes on fucking Instagram, rather than looking at real possibilities.
Try and answer the question that everyone wants to know.
But no one can be asked to find out now.
What the fuck are we doing here?
There's only like think about our generation, and then God forbid the generation below. No one's gonna give a fuck why we're here. Like you ask me, why do you think we're here? I don't give a fuck. That's literally an answer you could get today. If you went to the pub or went to town and went to a club and said and just having a convo with someone and was like, "What do you think the reason is that we're here?" He'd be like, "I don't give a fuck, man. We're here to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Life's too short, mate," and all that.
I guess that's why we're doing alternative. To ask these questions. We don't know the fucking answers, but we can ask them and ponder on them and read shit to try and figure out. We'll probably never get there, just us two, but I guess that's what life's about, though, isn't it? You need to have questions and a burning desire to answer those questions. Whether you answer them or not, doesn't matter. Like, try and do your best to answer them and think outside the box.
Well, the spirituality half of it is ignorance is like the root of most of all evils, and that's the society that we're living in today, where people are ignorant. They just want to work on themselves, like not work on themselves in a spiritual way, work on themselves in the way other people will perceive them, not the way they perceive themselves. And I think that's a big problem, is people aren't happy with themselves, but they're happy with the way other people see them.
Yeah. And that drills into ego.
But all this spirituality stuff I'm reading just says, fucking just let go of the ego. Once you've let go of the ego, you've let go of all the shit that comes in your life. And if you actually think about it, the ego is the creation of mass shit in your life. It's the creation of stress.
The ego is caring too much about external factors. That's all your ego is.
Yeah, because you're looking at the consequences of them actions externally. Whereas if you do something you're not happy with, you're not going to punish yourself. You're not going to look at yourself and think you're going to be like, shit, I fucked up. That's a lesson, and you'll find that fuck up valuable. But instead, everyone gets fixated on, shit, I've done that. What's everyone going to think of me?
Yeah.
Which is just ego. And I guess it like kind of gets drilled into you from a young age anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Next book after Sacred Mushrooms is Ego is the Enemy. So that should open our heads up a bit about controlling our ego.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a timely book, I think, for us to read.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about ego a lot, and I think it's a lot more important than I first. I knew it was important for a while, but I'm beginning, since looking into spirituality, seeing that it's a lot more important than anyone could possibly know.
Yeah, a lot of it is down to egos of, like, a lot of what we're seeing issues in society is just down to the egos of people in society, whether you're elite or the average Joe.
Anywhere, any class, then you're affected by your ego, unless you're completely detached from it. And I guess that's why people get to a certain level of spirituality, right? And then they go and be a monk.
Yeah. But then I see that side of spirituality and see what are they doing for humanity?
They're just meditating all day.
That's what I mean. And I think you can go like from being like fucking massive egotistical, like Donald Trump, for example, he's got a big ego. Then you can goes to be a monk, but surely there's somewhere in the middle where you can be and that actually have a positive impact on the world instead of just sitting in a monastery. Because imagine if everyone became a monk and just meditated. Like, where's the food gonna come from?
Yeah, well, imagine you just meditate for like 8 hours a day, and then yeah, I guess it'll be like small knit communities where you take shifts in meditating, and then take shifts
Meditate and
growing your crops. Yeah. You'd be like, oh fuck, I'm late. Like, what your work is meditation. Fuck, I'm late for work. Yeah, but I suppose like if you're going to take it in like two different ways, like Donald Trump or a monk, it's like, well, I guess it's like finding that balance in it, and that's like maybe the key to life is like helping humanity whilst detaching yourself from.
Helping humanity, but not doing it to make yourself look better. Doing it because you actually want humanity to prosper. And not because you want anything out of helping humanity at all. Like, you don't want any personal gain from it.
Well, that's a hard thing to do. Like, stand on the corner and preach spirituality. No one's gonna fucking listen.
I'm not saying do that though, but there's ways you can learn. If you detach from your ego, then there's things you can do in the world. Like, I've not got any ideas of what to do, but there's things you can do that can have a positive impact on humanity. Like, we'll look at the WEF, and they're claiming they're doing all this stuff for humanity and to help humanity prosper, but we know there's an agenda in it, and they didn't get to the positions they're in through being selfless people, helping everybody and anybody. No, they did it by helping a few people, maybe standing on a few people, but then helping another few people and standing on them, helping, standing, and then got to the positions of power they're in today through not. They've done it to better themselves. Anything they've done has always been to push themselves up higher and higher up that hierarchy, which is their ego. They're claiming to help people, but they're doing it for their ego, to feed their ego, because they know how much they're getting out of it.
Yeah, and it's like their egos evolved from a different sort of level to how you would say Donald Trump's ego is. These guys have an ego which they've got all the status, they're up there, they've got like a lot of control. Like, now they just need to keep hoarding power.
Yeah. And yeah, it's not like an in your face kind of ego. Like, if you listen to a Bill Gates interview, you wouldn't say he's got an ego, but he doesn't get in to that position of power without having an ego. Whereas Donald Trump, he's a bit more in your face. That's why I used him as an example, because
that's why he was easy for everyone to hate.
Yeah.
Whereas these other people, we can't comprehend the level of ego they've got. Because they just think about how big their ego is, right? They can do whatever the fuck they want and get away with it.
Yeah.
Like, they must be past the point of empathy. That ego must have taken over there. Because if you look at someone like Donald Trump, you can still tell down in his heart he's got empathy in there. You can tell in there he's got empathy. But when you look at someone like Bill Gates, because they don't flaunt themselves, they're not emotional, you look at him and think, you actually don't have anything inside you. You're just a fucking you're rotting away from the inside.
Sold his soul to the devil.
He fucking is the devil.
And has become the devil.
Shit, man. Their phone's gonna get fucking pumped.
On Microsoft Windows, we are saying this stuff.
Shit, I like Windows more than Apple as well. Here's a question for you to end it on. If you could sit down in front of Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, Jeff Bezos, and whichever other fucker wants to sit on the table. Well, he won't because they're scared shitless of talking to a normal person. What would you say to them?
So can I ask them one question?
If you could have a conversation with them, what would you say to them? If they said, "Yeah, I've got 10 minutes, mate. I'll come on the Alternative podcast."
Would they be open and honest?
Yeah. Let's just say you have a you have a willing conversation with him. You're not having a scrum. You're not having a forced interview. You just see him and think, "Oh, can I have 10 minutes of your time?" And he's like, "Yeah, what's up?"
Yeah, it's a good question, actually.
I think that's a good question to ask anyone. I would like to ask that question to someone like Russell Brand. What would they ask? But do you know people that are proper into it, like us?
Hmm.
And I'd like to ask it to Russell Brand because he's spiritual and he articulates what he says very well.
You say it good, yeah.
And he thinks about stuff very well.
What would you ask?
What you said before. That's what made me provoke the question, innit? Oh, did I say it? One of us said it. Is like, what you doing? What's the goal here?
Yeah, what is the goal here?
If you could get an honest, if they could
they would just spiel back. I'm trying to think of a question that I'm not gonna. Cause I know what the answer would be. It'll just be we're trying to develop a sustainable future where everyone's diversity and.
Yeah, I guess that's why you asked if it's going to be a no bullshit answer or not.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of a question to ask him. Where
if you took the truth pill, then you would just go go crazy on him. Like, how many kids have you fucking took to Ireland? I could dwell on it and then bring that one up on the next interview if you want, next podcast. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll have a think about that actually, because I would want to think of a question that's going to catch them off guard a little bit, and you can get something out of it, not just the rehearsed shit that they always say. Because if you ask them what is the aim, they're just going to tell you the rehearsed WEF stuff that we hear every day.
Yeah. They probably recite that stuff like it's the Bible.
Yeah.
Right, we'll let the audience think about that question too.
Yeah.
Call it.
In the comments. Yeah. Call it.
We could call it. All right, thanks for listening, everyone. See you next
Nice
time.
one, guys. See you later.